Hey everyone. I wanted to do something a little different today and talk about a book that I have read this year. It only took me one evening to read it, so it's definitely a book, not a novel, but still a book. I think it could take other people longer to read because it does give a lot of opportunity to ponder what it's saying or teaching. But I have read it before. Um, it's one of my favorite books. It's called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It was very popular back in the 70s, 80s, but not a lot of people talk about it these days. This book is really interesting. It's written in the form of a parable, or yeah, I'll just say a parable, and it's about a seagull. Now, Richard Bach is an interesting guy. I've read several of his books, and he says he doesn't like to write, um, but sometimes a story comes to him and it has to be written. And he actually wrote like half of Jonathan Livingston Seagull in a single sitting, and another half later, like 10 years later. And the book is really good. It's about a seagull who is not content with the way seagulls live and the life they lead. He wants to constantly stretch himself and grow. So he is very eager to fly the best he can. He loves flying. He is obsessed with flying, and he actually lets other aspects of his life suffer because he's trying to be a better flyer. Other aspects of his life being scrounging for food and stealing food from people on the beach like the other seagulls do. So he is constantly pushing himself, and he learns things like, hey, I can dive way faster if I tuck my wings in really short. Really fast birds have really short wings. These long gull wings can't handle the high wind speeds, and I get exhausted and my wings collapse and I crash into the water. So he just is kind of always pushing himself to progress and grow. Well, his actions being, not what seagulls really expect, he gets kicked out of the group of seagulls. Like, the elders are like, nope, you can't be here. Now, I don't want to break down the entire story or anything. Just call out some of the key principles, I guess, the book teaches, and hopefully you give the book a try sometime. So some key things that I learned from Jonathan Livingston Seagull is that you don't need to conform to those around you or to what people think is normal or the right way to do things. Jonathan is a really good example of just living to your values and what you can attain by doing that. And I think that's a really beautiful message told, and it's told through this parable about a seagull. Jonathan eventually starts teaching others what he's learned, and I think that's great too. And he doesn't go out and be like, hey, everyone needs to learn this. He finds others whose values align with his own and takes them under his wing and teaches them. And I like that he doesn't think that everyone needs to be like him or believe like him. He's concerned about helping those with similar values as him, and he's concerned with helping teach others to be accepting of those with different values. So that's a great message even today. I mean, this was written in like the 70s, and that's just great. And this isn't a topic that was really talked about in the 70s or anything, but it's definitely something you can take away. And that's one of the beauties of parables, is that when you read a parable, you can get a lot of different things out of a parable, depending on your state of mind, where you are in life, the world at the time that you're reading it. and I think that's awesome. Parables age really well compared to other storytelling methods, I think. Um, Another thing that, I don't know, some people are like zero in on like, man, Jonathan is such a rebel or whatever. And I don't know, for me, the definition of rebel doesn't mean you're just not doing things the way that people think you should. Like, someone being rebellious is often viewed as someone that's like pushing against things for the sake of pushing against them. And I know that Jonathan matches, like, just, he is a rebel in the fact that he's doing things counter to what prevailing belief and teachings are, but it's very much because it doesn't align with his values, not because he doesn't know where he's going, if that makes sense. So it's a mature form of rebellion rather than you know, like rebellious things you get like as kids turn to teenagers. Sometimes they get rebellious, but a lot of times that's not because they know who they are and they know what their values are. It's because they're trying to find who they are and they're just doing a bunch of stuff to explore that. So I definitely think that this is a good example of what this kind of rebellious nature looks like, where you are focused in on your values and you know who you are and what you are, and you're not going to compromise those values for the comfort of others. And that's a really great example as well. Anyway, I really enjoy Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I read it the first time when I was probably 13 to 15, in there somewhere, and I've loved it ever since. And it was the first book I read this year. I read it, January 1st. So pick it up, give it a try, and also let me know what you think about this format of talking through books. I'm gonna try it. Anyway, hope you have a good day. Bye.